Finally, I sold my 2002 Toyota 4Runner. I'm going to give you the pros and cons of this vehicle, should you buy one, and some of the interesting people that came to see it, and some of the interesting emails that I got as well. Hello everybody, it's Mike, the Baldadonis. Boom! If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Mike the Baldadonis, and I talk about many different topics. Sharing life experiences, one video at a time is my motto. I talk about being in my early 20s, doing 5 years and 3 months in prison for a first-time drug offense. Only to get out, unhappy with my body, I decided to do steroids. I gained 105 pounds of pure muscle, had a heart attack, and several other steroid-related health issues. I currently deal with migraines and vertigo due to today's foods, today's environment, and VOCs. I have conspiracy theories with Gary from the gym. I talk about cars. Cars I buy and sell as a hobby, and I bring you guys along with me, showing you the pros and cons of each vehicle that I buy. I also have my main man, Dr. Peter Prococo. He is my mentor, the reason why I'm on YouTube. He talks about inspiration, and I also bring other people on board sharing their interesting life stories as well. All right, so as you can see in my title, I finally sold my 2002 Toyota 4Runner, and I'm going to tell you some of the pros and cons of this vehicle. I'm going to tell you some of the characters that went to look at it and the emails that I got, yes. And the person that bought it for me, wicked nice guy, I'll tell you about him too. But I buy and sell cars as a hobby. I live in the Boston area, 30 miles north of Boston to be exact. And this is what I do as a hobby to try to make a few bucks. I'm not a Toyota guy in general, to be honest with you. I'm a BMW type of person, and I know BMWs pretty well. Toyotas, not that much, although there's not much to know about them. They're pretty good, reliable cars. They just don't make me any money, to be honest with you. So I usually don't buy them, okay, for that reason. There's no real margin for me to make anything. So I'm gonna tell you what I paid for it and what I sold it for, all that good stuff. But first, back in August when I bought this vehicle, I had to travel down to Medford, Massachusetts. I bought the vehicle from the original owner's son. His name was Jeff. He was about 33 years old, and this is the only vehicle that he knew, the only vehicle that he actually drove, and he loved this vehicle. Living in the Boston area was useless for him, so he just wanted to take public transit and all that good stuff, you know, buses and Uber and all that good stuff. It's expensive to register and insure a car in Boston, simple as that. So I understand that, and when I went down to look at it, it needed some framework. Now, it was a shame. The car is beautiful. It does have some spots here and there of rust, and I don't like to hide anything. I try to clean up the car as best as possible, and when I resell a vehicle, again, I try not to hide anything, to be pulling something over on anybody. I try to be as transparent as possible, and therefore I have a good name and reputation of buying and selling my vehicles, okay? Talking to Jeff, the owner, and good guy. He's just not a car enthusiast. I know this car, and I love this car because his dad owned it. Simple as that. He doesn't know how to fix a car, doesn't know what's underneath the hood, nothing, none of that stuff. So he had over $5,000 worth of recent receipts, okay? So the first thing that most people ask for on a Toyota, has the timing belt been replaced? That's number one. Number two, especially here in the Boston area, all of New England or anywhere there is salt on the roads, is how's the frame? Toyota frames on trucks are horrible. They just rot out the whole truck, and Toyota had a lot of recalls on the frames. Even when they did the recalls, I find Toyotas still rotting away because all the parts around the new frame is already rotted. So to me, buying these vehicles do not make sense, and I should have listened to my gut instinct and not bought this vehicle, but I never owned one. And you know what? For a YouTube video, why not? I bought it. And some of the things that the original owner did to it were, and all the receipts were in a radiator, timing belt, water pump, tune-up, suspension parts, exhaust, catalyst converter, everything to do with the exhaust system. Brake lines, brakes, tires, everything was fairly brand new. And when I went to look at the vehicle, like I said, there was some spots of rust, and there was a section about this much, give or take, underneath the left driver's side frame rail that needed to be welded. And that's where I didn't know if I should buy the vehicle. So I bought the vehicle for $2,000. I'm just taking a gamble at it. And the book value at the time was $7,000. Now, $2,000 was auction value. Jeff he wasn't very happy with it, but seeing that the frame was rotted, he just wanted to get rid of it. And I rolled the dice and I took the vehicle. Now, after having the frame fixed by my friends at RGA in Pelham, New Hampshire, I took it to another shop. I have several people that work on my vehicles, especially if I'm busy. At the time, I had a BMW 330 convertible. I had a BMW E30 325i convertible, and I had a Fiat Abarth, and was there something else? No, I think there was 4 cars. So at that time, then I bought the Toyota. So I have sometimes, at any given time, I have all cars out being repaired. So I also had the vehicle fixed at Live Free and Drive in Salem, New Hampshire. And they did a O2 sensor. They did the valve cover gaskets and the intake gaskets. That was kind of a pricey little job for me. And I also had to take it to Lose Exhaust because I needed another new muffler after the new exhaust was just put on 2 years ago. So Toyota exhaust rot out pretty quickly, and I had to replace the muffler again. And then shortly after that, I had to put a battery in it. So it was nickel and diming me here and there. So I paid $2,000 for the vehicle. I put about $1,400, give or take, because I do register my cars and I do get them inspected. So all that was taken care of. Also an oil change at the same time that I had the rear brakes adjusted. So yeah, I do go through my cars pretty good, and sometimes some things I just can't do, or I just lose money, and I tell that to the person that's going to buy the vehicle. Now, another thing that I did not know until recently, rear ends on these vehicles, you actually have to cut off the differential cover and put a new one on and weld it on. When the person that bought my vehicle, Dave, when he bought it, one of the first questions was, how's the rear end? Is it leaking? I was like, yeah, the pan's a little leaking, but it's nothing that I can, I would worry about. He goes, oh no, that's a big job. It's $1,000 to do. I was like, he's texting me this, you know what I mean? So I wasn't near my computer, and I was like, I've been buying cars for 35 years. You know what I mean? Off and on, besides my 5 years in prison. So I've been dealing with cars a long time. And most cars have bolts and a gasket, and you just take the cover off, you put a new cover on, and simple as that. So the cover was actually $45, and I told him that. I go, dude, the cover's $45. Then when I got home, got into the Toyota forums, yeah, you gotta actually take the whole rear end out, cut it off, the differential cover, and weld a new one on. I'm like, damn. So I look like an idiot on that part. And, well, it is what it is. I look like an idiot. All right. So the first person that came by to look at it was a young woman. She was coming from a Subaru something little station wagon that had like 200,000 plus miles on it, and she wanted her 4Runner. And she really loved it. She took it to a mechanic, and when she came back, she simply said, mechanic told me that it's probably not for me, so thank you very much. I was like, okay, cool. The second person that came to look at it was a person that used to live in my neighborhood, and he seen it driving by one day, and he gave me a call, and he came to look at it. And the funny thing about this guy, he is a doctor, and he had to ask his wife for the money. And anytime somebody says, let me ask my wife if I can buy it, I know things are not going to happen. So nope, he couldn't buy the vehicle, but he had to sell his 1996 F100 with two-wheel drive first. I was like, cool, do what you got to do. You know, if it sells, I'll let you know. But he called me back 2 or 3 days later. Mike, I really like that truck. Can I bring it to a mechanic that knows about Toyotas? I was like, oh, did you sell your truck, or did you get the money? No. I was like, no, you're not taking the vehicle. If you can't afford to buy it, I'm not letting you take it. So he understood, and he called me again. He was like, Mike, can I just take you for one more test drive and let me see if I can talk my wife into it? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. That's cool. Because I know this guy's interested in it. Takes it for a ride, really loves it, but he can't. His wife won't let him until he sells his vehicle. Haven't heard from him since. Then I had a super hot mom that was buying it for her son for college, and she knew her cars. She was cool and very interesting, and I actually made a video about her. She asked me if the car was ever in an accident, and I said no, because when I was talking to the owner, at this time, like I said, I already bought a bunch of cars during the summertime, and this one, because I bought it off the original owner, after asking him, is this car a clean title? Yes. I'm not sure if I asked him if it had an accident or not. He claims that I did not ask him, and that's usually the number one question I ask. Ever been in an accident? In my case, because I deal with vertigo, the first question I really ask is, anybody smoke in the vehicle? Then I ask, was there any accidents? So he said no, went down there, bought the car, like I said, blah, 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 blah. To find out, after running a Carfax for my friend George, there was an accident, and I called him out on it. I'm like, I thought you said there was no accident. He goes, I don't think you told me, or you asked me that. I was like, of course I asked you that. Anyways, I look like a liar to this mom, and she never got back to me after I told her it wasn't an accident. So I look like a liar, and I made a video about that. Now, I also had some interesting people on Craigslist, of course. One of them was a really interesting story, and this just happened about 10 days ago. I live in Boston area, like I said, and I get a message from somebody in Lake Placid, New York. He wanted, I don't know how he was going to get it there, or if he was asking me if I wanted to bring it, because again, I put my YouTube channel on the cars that I sell, so you guys can actually watch what I do to these cars, okay, and how I bought them. So after him watching my video, he said, would you like to do a video about the car coming out here to Lake Placid and the car was going to go on a barge and go to a remote place in New York where it's only accessible by barge or train. And being a Toyota, it would be perfect because the maintenance on these vehicles are very low. So I thought that was very intriguing. I just didn't understand if he wanted me to drive it out there and do a video about it, or he was going to come out here. So I didn't get a chance to really respond to him, because then I got Dave from Portland. He called me up and he said, Mike, I just got into an accident with my same Toyota 4Runner, and I have all these good parts on it, and your vehicle makes sense to me. And I was like, cool. And you're going to hear from him in 2 seconds. And,
Hey, how's it going? This is David. I bought the 2002 Toyota 4Runner from Mike. The thing's in great shape inside and out. I was very surprised that someone could keep it in that good of condition for that long, but they did. The rear axle assembly was a little bit wet, which I pointed out to Mike because I've had them seize up in the past, and he was really cool about it and came down on the price for me a little bit. I have the same exact 4Runner year, make, and model with a bunch of good parts on it, which was why this purchase was kind of appealing to me, because I have those for spare parts. So I have the rear axle for the other one. I just got to pay the labor to get it swapped out, and this thing should be good to go. And I hope it lasts me a long time. And thanks to Mike for being cool and honest about the
In the
sale.
summertime, I got it for $2,000, put like I said, around $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 into it, whatever it is, and all the nickel and diamond put into it. And I sold it for $3,700. You know why? Because Dave is a Toyota guy. After finding out about the rear end, I looked like an idiot, okay? And I had him drive all the way down from Maine, 2.5 hours, give or take. And you know what? I made a few $100s. Was it worth it? Hell no. This is why I don't buy Toyotas. And even though there was $6,500-ish of maintenance done to this vehicle, you know, you're just giving it away for that amount of money. I would have kept that vehicle. I would have got rid of my BMW and my Jeep Wrangler to keep that 4Runner. That 4Runner runs fantastic. And so here it comes. Should you buy a Toyota 4Runner? If you can find one that's in excellent condition, absolutely. They're bulletproof. Do you have to put money into them? Yes, you do. Everything needs maintenance. But gas pig, it is a gas pig. It gets like 20 miles per gallon. All right, it's got 430 gear ratio. So it does go through the snow like a beast. I give it that. Fantastic in the snow. But you know, it's not flashy. It's a good looking truck, and I think it's well worth having. Absolutely. I would love to have one. If I didn't buy to sell cars just to make a few bucks and I had a Toyota 4Runner, I would love to have it. Okay? I would. So, yeah, things to look out for is that rear end if it's leaking. That's big money. Always the timing belt, the frame, and pretty much that's about it. I mean, everything else is just basic maintenance. And the thing that messed me up on this, it doesn't have four-wheel disc brakes, which I find unusual. It has huge drum brakes, but no disc brakes in the rear. And they've also put in a new stereo system, so it has Apple Play, I believe. And already here I spent the money on a new stereo system. So the stereo system was okay stock, and they have great speakers. But after putting that stereo system, I'm sure it sounds unbelievable. All right. So again, I want to thank my friends at IGA for some of the repairs they did to my vehicle, and Live Free and Drive in Salem, New Hampshire as well. So thank you guys for helping me out, and thanks to Dave again for buying the vehicle. Enjoy it. Hope it all works out for you. So until the next video, everybody, Baldadonis out.